Want to design a Spidersona? Me too. In this video, I'm going to give you tips you probably haven't heard of on how to design a Spidersona, and I'm also going to show you how to put it into practice by designing my own. What's up and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Delilah and I'm a digital artist. So you may not be familiar with what a Spidersona is, so let me tell you a brief little history. A couple of years ago when the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse movie came out, there was this trend, this art trend actually going around on social media on people designing their own Spidersona. So, according to the internet, the term Spidersona derives from the words Spider-Man and persona. These Spidersonas often have spider-like abilities and powers and are usually based off the creator's personality, interests, and traits. Basically, if you became a spider person, what would you look like? And that's how that whole trend started. So people were just designing themselves as if they were to become a Spidersona, or a spider person I should say, and I never got a chance to do that, so when the second movie came out, I definitely wanted to do it this time around. And I figured, why not film a tutorial on how to do it? So for this video, I'm going to do 4 different designs for my Spidersona, and that is a Spidey suit, a dynamic pose, a portrait, and streetwear. Now, you don't have to do these designs for your own Spidersona, I just wanted to do them for my own. And for all 4 of these designs, I use the same 3 basic steps, and that is to analyze, to do rough sketches, and to finalize the design. It may not be clear what I'm talking about right now, but as the video goes along, you're going to understand it. Before jumping in and designing my character, I wanted to create a list of personality traits that I would reference so that every time I come up with a design or try to come up with ideas for a design, I could see which one better fits her personality, and I recommend you do the same thing. Now, since this character is heavily based on me, she's me in cartoon version basically. So I wanted to give her a name that was different from my own. So in this case, my character's name is Anais Batista Ramirez. And I made a list of different personality traits that I was referencing. Feel free to pause the video and read the list so you can understand more of her personality, but this is what I was looking at when I was trying to come up with different designs. I forgot to mention something while I was recording this video. Sometimes when I'm coming up with a design, whether it's for a character or a prop or anything like that, I tend to come up with playlists to help me put myself in that world or in the character's shoes. So I did the same thing this time around. For Anais, or for myself, I created a playlist that represents our personality. So it's linked below in the description if you want to listen to it. So now let's move on to part 1, which is the Spidey suit. Now the analyze portion of this is to analyze the characters that already exist in this intellectual property, which is something I highly recommend that you do. And it's something that I didn't see a lot of people do in their videos when they were showing tutorials or speed paints on how they design their own Spidersona. Basically, if you want to design a character for something that already exists, you have to kind of know what the design rules are. So for example, if you took Bart Simpson and tried to put him into the world of Spider-Verse, it wouldn't really fit, you know? Even the character of Spider-Ham from the first movie is super cartoony and obviously doesn't have the same build as all the other characters, but he still fits because he still follows the design rules of the world. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So on the screen, you'll see characters from the first and the second movie. And just looking at them all together, there were certain similarities that I noticed between all of their Spidey suits. So first I drew a line down the middle, and then I saw that the left side is a mirror image of the right side of the Spidey suits. And also, the design on the back is similar to the design on the front, but it's not exactly the same. Each character had about 4 or 5 colors to their suit. Even someone like Miles, who is the main character of the movie, seemingly only has 3 colors, which is the red, white, and black. But he has a very subtle spiderweb design that goes around his waist and also from his calf down to his ankles. So you kind of have to pay close attention to those details. If you were to shrink these pictures down to a very tiny size, you would notice that you can still recognize which character is which. And that's because they have color blocking as a base. I will note though that some of these characters, like the ones on the bottom, have accessories like bangles or cuffs or boots. I didn't count these as part of the Spidey suit design itself, so I counted them more as an accessory for this analysis. So I know that I wanted my character to have a special power the way that Miles does. Certain spider people have an ability that nobody else has. So in order to come up with what power I wanted my character to have, I decided to draw inspiration from nature. Now, if you have any kind of arachnophobia, I would say look away from the screen and just hear what I have to say. But if you don't, feel free to look at the screen. So for this case, I was looking at specifically garden type spiders that would serve as inspiration for her special power. I was mainly looking at the orb weaving spider and the jumping spider, and it's because they have certain abilities like making body doubles out of bug corpses and silk. They can trick insects into thinking their web is a flower. They also have ant mimicry to protect themselves from predators that prey on spiders, or to hunt prey that isn't afraid of ants. I mean, it's kind of crazy that a spider can look like an ant the way that it can. I mean, did you even know that was a thing? I had no idea until I started looking this up. Putting all of these together, I decided that I wanted my character to have the power of illusions. Now, this is kind of important because it would also help me to figure out what kind of colors to use for my character. So now, putting all that information together, it was time to design the Spidey suit. The easiest way that I could figure out how to design the Spidey suit is by drawing a little silhouette. Now in the screen, you're gonna see a sort of alien looking like silhouette, but trust me, it's really helpful. So design a silhouette that kind of looks like a human, if your character is in fact human, and then duplicate it a few times and then start to experiment. I started with just erasing parts of the suit, and those parts that I erased would be where all the colors would go for my character. And then I tried another design and then another design, and I just kept going with that. And I tried it a few more times, and let's just say that I went a little crazy and came up with all of these designs. There were actually more designs besides these, but I decided to just show you the gist of what I came up with. So then I went and I narrowed it down by my favorites, and even decided to combine two of them together. And then once I tried them out with color, then I decided to narrow it down one more time and came up with these three final designs. Now, the reason why I have this sort of rainbow of colors is because it's supposed to mimic a kind of holographic effect. I didn't want to try to make the holographic effect exactly because it kind of reminded me of reflectors that you find on clothing. So I still wanted to be a lot more vibrant because it goes with her childlike personality. Trying to figure out what I like and don't like, I decided that I liked the top of the first one and the bottom of the second one, because the top of the last two suits were a little more feminine than I wanted them to be. I wanted her to be a little more youthful. So I took those, combined them, rendered it, and this is how she turned out. Pretty cool, huh? Finally got a Spidey suit. Part 2 is the dynamic pose. So now that I know what the suit is going to look like, it makes designing the dynamic pose easier because at least I have a guide to work off of. Now, for this, I turned to the internet again and I started to Google things like gymnast pose or dancer poses, etc. and so forth. I'm showing you a lot of different poses that I tried out just to see which ones I would like and which ones stood out to me. And after a while, I still couldn't really decide which ones. I was stuck between three different poses. So I turned to this program that I found out about recently called Design Doll. It's a free program that you can use on your computer. So at least I use the free version because your girl is broke. So using this, I got to sort of pose her in, yeah, she looks a little weird, you know, just ignore it. But it gives you a better visual idea of how the pose can turn out, and I could see it in a 3D design, you know, and even pick the right angle that I wanted her to be in. So I tried 3 different poses. This was one of them, and on the screen you're going to see the 2 other ones that I tried out, and decided to go with the first pose as my final design. So I put it all together, and this is how her dynamic pose turned out. I wanted the web to be a white base and have a bunch of webbing coiled around it that is the same colors as her suit. So the third part of this video is the portrait. Now, the thing that I had to analyze for this part of the video is something that you may not actually find on the internet unless I put it there myself, but it is something that I carry with me at all times, and that is my face. this is what I had to analyze for this part of the video. So turn to the screen and you'll see what I'm talking about. So I got a picture of myself, and I drew over it with the different areas I thought was kind of distinguishable. Basically the things that makes my face me and makes it different from everybody else. So one thing I noticed right away is that I have an oval shaped head. So basically an egg sitting on top of a neck. I have almond shaped eyes. I have naturally thin eyebrows. I don't actually pluck my eyebrows, I just shave the middle of it. My lips are fairly thin, and my curl pattern is actually mainly two different kinds. It's S curls with a corkscrew at the end. So if anybody out there who's designing a character with curly hair, just know that sometimes you can have more than one curl type on the same head of hair. And also I have distinguishing marks that are on the right side of my face. I have a beauty mark under my eyebrow and one on my cheek. So what I mean is, over here you might notice that I have this little dot under my eyebrow, and on this side I have one on my cheek. So anytime I draw a picture of myself, I always draw these two things on it so that you know the person I'm drawing is me. So once I analyzed my face, I decided to do rough sketches of my face and basically the hairstyle that I imagined my character having. On the left side is the first sketch that I drew of myself, and I just wanted to try out the hairstyle that I was thinking. So I split the hair down the middle and divided them into 3 parts. I gathered 2 of these 3 parts into the middle and created this big poof, and then down the center underneath this poof is a French braid. And I did the same thing on the other side. So basically they're mirror images of each other, kind of working off of the analysis from the Spidey suit. And then on the right side is the actual pose of my portrait design with her wearing the Spidey suit without the mask. And of course she's holding a snack, or a little bodega snack, which I absolutely love. I mean, I even have some on my desk. I keep some on my desk, so these, you can only find these in New York. But she is holding a lollipop in this case and has this sort of playful type of pose. So I put all of these together, and this is how the portrait of my character turned out. So the fourth and final design for my character is my absolute favorite one, which is the streetwear. So when it came to designing my character streetwear, I had to keep her personality in mind, especially for this part of her design. Now, I tried 5 different designs in terms of what I was thinking. Things that I definitely wanted was to have some kind of Y2K color palette. I wanted it to have 90s influence and some kind of design, customization. So with the first design, I definitely love those jeans and I want to buy a pair of those myself. But I feel like it was a little too casual or streetwear like for this character, and it wasn't feminine enough, so then I went heavy on the feminine aspects for the second one. However, in real life, if I were to wear skinny jeans or tights like this all day long, I would want to just come home, rip the pants off, and throw on sweatpants. Which is why I designed the third one with sweatpants. But her outfit reminded me a little too much like loungewear, and I didn't want her to feel like she just rolled out of bed. So then I went back to the 90s influence and started to do overalls. I definitely wanted to cuff the bottom because this girl is just as short as I am. I'm 5 feet tall, and I love overalls. I would wear them all the time if I could. But I wanted to have her design have a little more asymmetry, so that's when number 5 came in. I took off one strap from the overalls so that she has an asymmetric look. So going off of that one, I definitely focused on the asymmetry in the top. I also wanted her to have patches and embroidery in the bottom. Maybe she has some parts that are cut. Maybe even on the knees she might have like a rip that she used fabric and embroidery to cover up. And I wanted the hems to be cuffed because again, she is short as hell. And the color palette, I wanted it to be Y2K color palette. So these are the colors that I was working with. Putting all of this together, I started to look at some influences on the internet for what I was going to use for this design. So I looked up some pictures on the internet of different overalls and different accessories that she could wear too. I definitely wanted her to have some kind of denim overall, but I felt like it would be more fun if it was in a color. And the sneakers, I wanted it to have that sort of color blocking effect to it too, that would match the colors that she was wearing on the rest of her body. I wanted her clothing to have different patches and embroidery. So this is sort of the idea and the direction that I was going in. Some that represent her personality or her background, like the fact that she's Dominican. So of course I gotta have some plátanos in there. And just different ways to patch up any rips and tears in her clothing or to customize it with a lot of embroidery. So gathering all the references and experimenting with different colors and etc. and so forth, I put it all together, and this is how her streetwear design finally came out. I think it's a lot of fun. Honestly, I would buy these clothes if I could, head to toe. So now that I have the final design created, this is a lineup of all of the designs that I have for my character in this video. We have the Spidey suits, the dynamic pose, a portrait, and her streetwear design. All of these for the character Anais Batista Ramirez. Thank you very much for watching my video. Hopefully you enjoyed what you see and you learned a little something. By the way, if you actually like videos like this, just leave a comment below and let me know. And if you want me to do some kind of series where I create a character for a pre-existing IP, then just let me know. I can make a series like that too. I also thought about turning this into like a PDF guide, you know, like how to design a character for an existing IP, and I use Spidersona as an example. So if you're interested in something like that, let me know too in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching my video. I really appreciate it. It makes such a huge difference to be supported this way. Thanks again. Bye. Ow, what the hell? Oh my, what the hell? The wire just came out of my bra. Oh, son of a bitch. A dynamic pose, a portrait. What is that? What is it flying around? Again, easily distracted. Okay, so let me show you what I'm talking about. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, try it again. For watching my video. Oh, wait. I got something in my eye. Ah, hair in the eye. Okay. And I don't know what else to say. Anybody with an iPhone, with an old iPhone, how do you do this? I have no space on my phone anymore.